Good afternoon, everybody. This is John Ricks, Executive Director of the Nebraska Tourism Commission, and we want to welcome you to today's webinar. We have a lot of ground to cover, but I'm pretty sure that it'll be all things that you're very interested in. What I want to do is set the stage for about what we're about today and where we're going, and then we have the team here to walk you through the media kit or the toolkit for the program. We have a guest today with us who's going to talk about an exciting new social media program on Facebook, and then we'll do questions and answers. So throughout today's webinar, if you do have questions, please just email them to Jen Jardy at nebraska.gov. Her address is here, and we'll get those answered for you. But what I wanted to do is give you a little overview, an introduction to actually what we're up to. I think you've heard me say a number of times that over time now we're going to be focusing more on out-of-state markets, and we will be doing that gradually as we move along. But what we think is most important is that we have co-op programs and opportunities, so when we go to those markets, which we're currently identifying as representing the highest propensity areas that we can get tourists from, that we can get visitors from, that we want to make sure that we have programs to help take you along with us. We're all big believers in co-op because it does two things. It allows us to go places. It allows us to leverage the size and the power and some of the channels we have to your benefit, and so that's what we're all about. There's a couple of things that I think are important, and I'm 3 months old now, and I think what we've done is this: we've looked at all the programs we have available in terms of co-op, the advertising program, which is the visitor guide, advertising on Nebraska, visit nebraska.com, and there's a variety of other things that we'll be covering in a few minutes. And as we got into it, we realized that there's a lot of stuff here. There's a lot of different opportunities, and we were wondering which are the most effective. I would say that we have pretty good participation in some, not as much participation in the other. And so what we thought is this: we have a big grant program that can enable us to make these programs available to you at the most effective cost possible. So what we're doing today, and you'll hear more about this, we laid out all the programs and said, okay, so we can learn better which work best for you. We're going to take all of them and put them inside the grant program, which would then allow them to be most affordable to you guys. And we'll be explaining all that today, but the real intent is to make these programs available to as many people as possible, to raise industry participation so we can take you along as we start going to these new markets, and to make it as affordable as possible for you. And then an outcome of the whole process is to then determine which of these programs best serve your needs. So we want to know, and we'll do this through which ones you participate in, through which ones you join in, and then we'll continue to communicate with you in terms of which ones were most effective for you. Another thing that we're going to introduce today, and I already mentioned it, is this special Facebook co-op. And in my couple months of roaming around the state, there has been input and comment about, can we do something more in the social media area? And we have a guest with us today, Dave Fluge, who you'll meet, who is going to walk you through that. Dave and I work together in Colorado, and there's a very successful program there that's ongoing. And the cool thing about social media is it works just like that. It's inexpensive and does get results, and he'll go through with you in a minute. So what you're going to see today is what we're starting to call directed marketing opportunities. And what that simply means is we want to take what we have and then find new innovative ways, again, to make it so that you can go along with us into these markets, and it can make more people come to your destination, click through to your destination, give you more exposure in the travel guide or on visitnebraska.com or in email programs or any of those programs. But the goal, again, is to make it so that you're more visible. So we've created these programs, and they're we're calling them directed, which means basically you can join into a program that we're going to put into different marketplaces based on your needs, based on your direction. So I think that's what I got so far as an introduction. I want to introduce Angela Sears now, who's going to walk you through the entire toolkit so you understand what's there, what's included. And again, if you have any questions as we go along, just email Jen. And at the end of this, we'll have a Q&A period with the entire panel. So thank you very much and welcome.
All right, so recently we sent out an email to the industry that had this kit attached to it. It's our media kit that we put out each year. But this year it has a little bit of a twist to it because it also includes the grant application for those of you that are eligible to apply for grants. And so we will go through that with you just a little bit more and explain some of those programs. So if you go to our website and you go to the industry section of our website, you will find the kit. So I'm just going to click here on the link that I already have embedded, but again, you can find this on the industry section of our website. And you scroll down just a little bit and there is a link that says Media Kit. So that's what you want to look for. We will show you what is in this Media Kit that we just recently sent out. It says 2017-18 Advertising Opportunities. And when you go through it, first we have a letter here from our director, John, who just kind of basically said the same sort of things that are in the letter, so I won't go into that detail. On page 3, you can find out information about how you participate in advertising in our travel guide. There's different options for that. There's full page, half page, all different sizes. And it walks through some of the benefits of that here. I'll let you read those for yourself, but pricing for that is on page 14 of this. Then it walks through our electronic advertising options. We have all kinds of electronic advertising options on our website, including bannered ads, sponsored listings, premium profiles. So if you are a particular fan of digital advertising, you might want to look at that as one of your options. And especially if you have existing digital ads already created, that's a great program. We have a leads program that people participate in every year. So when people come to our website and order a travel guide, down at the bottom it will ask them if they want more information about your community. So this last year North Platte was one of the communities that participated, and they could check a box and say they wanted more information from North Platte. And then we send those leads to North Platte once a week, and they are able to send additional information out to the people that have requested it. And that's a really good program. Again, here's just a closer look at what those banner ads look like. And those can be, I'll go back here just a second. As you can see, those can be in different sections. So you can put them in the see and do section, in the stay section, in the eat section. So obviously, if you're a restaurant, it might be great to have them in the eat section. You can also put them by category or interest area. So family fun, if you want to advertise a children's museum, for example, that might be a good place to have your ad for family fun. Sponsored listings is another one of the opportunities. Those are the listings that show up at the top of the pages all the time. So if you've paid for that, your listing will show up at the top no matter what. That's very similar to, let's say, like a Google AdWords or something like that. If you've paid to be the top position or sponsored listing, it's the same sort of thing there. And obviously those sites then see a lot more traffic. You can see on the page here that talks about destinations that have purchased sponsored listings have boosted traffic to their page profile by about 2,000%. So really big uptick in traffic because of those boosted sponsored listings. Electronic advertising, premium profiles. So if you want to go ahead and do an enhanced profile, our basic profile is free for any destination. But if you want to add video and you want to add extra photos and a longer description and really make your page a little extra special, you can do that. That's a one-time $500 charge. That used to be $500 a year, but we've changed that to be just a one-time $500 charge. So that's a very good deal. And what that includes, it talks a little bit more right here. Basic profile includes 750 characters. But in a premium profile, you can 2,500 character description, and you can have up to 24 images and or videos. So this is that leads program that I talked about a little bit more. You can just see a little bit better picture of that, how it's at the bottom of the travel guide request page. So last year we had Kearney, Lincoln, North Platte, and Sarpy County taking part in that option. So if you are interested in that, that's another good thing to look at. On average, we sent 330 leads a month to those communities. You know, of course it varies, some can be higher and some lower, but on average it was 330. You can also advertise in our Destination Nebraska e-newsletter. And that goes out once a month, November through February. So in the wintertime, it's a little bit less information that we have to send out, so we send out one time a month, whereas March through October, it goes out twice a month. Okay, this is the Through My Eyes Co-op Social Media Blitz program that we're going to talk a lot more in detail about here in a minute with our guest consultant on that. He'll be up here in a few minutes to go into detail, so I'm not going to go over that one yet. I'll let him handle it. On page 11, you will see the options this year for this year's print advertising in magazines. You'll see a lot of familiar ones here, ones that have been very popular in the past. We wanted to bring back and give you the opportunity to continue to participate in those if you've done that in the past. Country Living, AAA Living, American Road, Trains. So there's a bunch of different magazines there that you can pick from. And then this just goes into more detail on each of those options, what their circulation is, what the cost is to you, when the deadlines are, all that type of thing. So if you're interested in that print advertising, read through all these details. Digital co-op opportunities. We're also offering a special TripAdvisor.com co-op opportunity. We did this last year. It went over really well. We had great results from it. So that's limited to 4 partners, and then each partner gets, well, including us, we're the 5th partner, gets 20% of the share of voice. So it kind of rotates between the 5 groups. Here's the production requirements for the travel guides. Here's where you can see the pricing. So a full page ad in the travel guide is $10,000. And what we'll get into a little bit more here is how the grant program is going to work. That $10,000 page you can now get for a cost of $2,500 because of the grant program. So if you're eligible for that. So that's a really great discount. You can maybe afford a bigger ad than you've had in the past, or if you've never been able to afford to advertise, you can maybe now afford to. So that's a great benefit for all of you. It'll make full page advertising or even half page advertising a lot more affordable. It spells out the different ad sizes and their dimensions and what you need to do there. And if you have any questions on any of these, on producing your ads, on submitting them, any of that, feel free to give me a call or email me at angela.sears@nebraska.gov. And you can see my email on there under submitting files, and I can help you with anything that you need on that. Okay, so the page 15 through 17 is now going to be your tourism marketing grant application, essentially. So in order to apply for the marketing grant, you go to pages 15 and 17, and there are 3 things that you can apply for. You can apply for advertising opportunities that are outlined in this media kit, which is what we just went through. Professional ad development, so if you need to have any ads made, or on the 3rd one it talks about video production for your Through My Eyes video. Any of that creation of that ad content that you need to be done, you can submit for marketing grants also. So keep that in mind. And it talks about a little more detail in here, but so you just fill out who the organization is applying for the grant, the contact people, your email address, your federal ID. That is required. You do have to have a federal ID. And Heather can maybe answer some more questions on that if anybody has any. But and then what you do is you do your total grant amount requested for advertising and ad development. And I'll go into that in a little more detail here in a second. Then you have to put the information about your matching dollars that you're going to have in there, and any in-kind advertising that you might be having. And again, just spells out, just like in the past, all the grants must provide at least a 25% match. Half of that can be in-kind services or donated materials. And volunteer work is valued at $10 per hour and must be documented, including the dates and lists of volunteers, service hours provided. So it's very similar to the past. Again, Heather Hogue in our office is the grant guru of our office, and she knows all of the answers to all of your questions on that. So if you have questions, if you've never done a grant before, I will say that this grant process is, and this 3-page application is simpler than it has been in the past, so I think people will enjoy that. It's not, doesn't take nearly as much work, it's just 3 simple pages, so I think you'll find it very easy to do, but you feel free to call her and ask her any questions that you want to ask. The deadline for submitting these is April 24th, 2017. If you're delivering it by hand, it must be in the tourism office no later than 5 o'clock on April 24th. And anything that comes in after the deadline will not be considered. So make sure you get those in on time. And then the grant awards will be announced on May 18th, 2017. Got some information on the reimbursement details there. I won't go into all that, but if you read it and still have questions, again, Heather Hogue would be the person to talk to on that. And just to keep in mind, any videos that would be produced for the Through My Eyes campaign all have to be approved by the Tourism Commission, as well as any ads that you do. We, of course, we want to make sure that everything's appropriate and fits in with state statutes or rules, the things that we have to follow. So we would be approving those before they go out. I don't think we've really ever turned anything down, so it's not like that's a big scary thing. It's not too hard to please us on that. So this is the insertion order that you have to fill out. And this is where you would go ahead and mark whatever it is in the program that you want to participate in. You can participate in 1 thing, you can participate in 5 things. Some people have asked us if there's a cap of any kind, and there really isn't at this point. You can apply for as many of the items as you want. But just keep in mind, just like all of our grant applications, they will be reviewed by a committee and will be awarded based on what we have for available funds. So if for some reason we would get a ton more participation than we have money for, then the committee would maybe have to make some choices on partially funding some things or not funding some things. So that is just the same process as usual. I don't foresee that being a big problem, hopefully, but you never know. This could be super popular and everybody could want a million things. So again, you just put in there the different things that you want to participate in. And after you've added everything in that you want to participate in, you just do a grand total down there at the bottom, the total of the 2 pages. So all the items that you've selected, do your total, and then that's the number that would then go back onto this page 15 where it says total grant amount requested for advertising. So it's kind of like a tax form. You have to take the final total and come back and bring it up to this line. So if anyone has any questions about the application again or any of these advertising options, feel free to email Jen or myself or Heather afterward, and we can help you with any questions that you might have. But now I'm going to take it back and to our presentation here, and I'm going to introduce our consultant Dave Fluge, who is working on our social media Facebook program, and he's going to explain all that to you. It's very interesting and different. We've done some Facebook advertising and boosting in the past, but this is going to be a really new and exciting way of doing it that we've never done before, and I think people are really going to enjoy it. So, you ready, Dave?
Yep. Oops. Okay. Yeah, I'm Dave Fluge. I'm owner of Fluge Consulting. I work with destinations across the country. Colorado is one of my clients. That's where I worked with John Ricks. And before this, I worked in large advertising agencies. I always like to tell people, because you don't know who it is you're talking to, you're in very capable hands. I've run about $7+ million in Facebook advertising myself. So I've been around the block. I do more than just Facebook, but for this program, I primarily like to stick with that because it's where people get the most bang for their buck, and it's kind of the easiest one to take and run with on your own. And the program that I'm going to talk about, I designed and built about 2 years ago. And I'll start off by saying that it is one of, if not the most popular co-op program in the state of Colorado. At this point, I just did a sign up for them, and within about 15 minutes, it was over 80% full, and within a day, it was completely full. And our program doesn't have a grant component to it, so it still is very, very, very exciting to industry partners. Oh, there we go. So the reason I came up with this program is that there were a few things we knew. Everyone out there that's done Facebook advertising, or has a Facebook page rather, knows that just because you have 1,000 fans or even 1 million fans doesn't mean that when you post something, it goes to 1 million people or 1,000 people. You know, the reach, as you may hear me mention throughout the presentation, is the number of people that see that. And that has constantly gone down to where now it might be 2%, 3%, maybe 10% if you're lucky. But that constantly goes down. And do I need to do something here? Oh. Okay. Thank you. So what we know is paid is pretty much necessary. If you want to get people to see your message, you got to put it out there. And there's some good and some bad to that. If you just rely on organic, meaning there's no paid on your messages, then what happens is you're talking to people that primarily have either already visited or more than likely live there. You know, if you go in and look at your analytics, you'll see most of the people that are fans of your pages are probably residents, and that's not who we're looking for. We're primarily looking for people to come out of town, out of the market, so that we can get heads in beds and, you know, get that tax dollars are going to be a little bit higher. So paid is necessary to reach those people. One of the things that I noticed when I was developing this program, or prior to it, is 7, 8 plus years ago when I talk about Facebook, I always had this, you know, deer in headlight look from industry partners that were frightened of it. And now, you know, everybody's kind of gotten used to social media, and it's just a part of our marketing repertoire. But I noticed a few years ago that when I talked about paid advertising, I had that same look. People were just terrified of it. So this is an opportunity to show people it's not that difficult. You know, it's just something else that you can try now. And then as a state, you always want to bring your partners new offerings, something new to try, because you know the state goal is to make sure we're bringing people in and spreading them around the state and making sure everybody's seeing success. And so this is a new offering that we want to bring into the state. All right, so the way this works is it is inspirational and shareable content. So what I mean by this is that it's not buy one, get one free. It's not 50% off roommates. We're not running ads, we're running content. And so the industry partner creates a piece of content. And that is, you know, that is me helping you guys and critiquing and saying, you know, well, this could work, or let's find that very special something about your destination, and let's go ahead and bring that out. This kind of starts off with, we have a talk and kind of find out who is your target audience, who visits your destination. And then we find that, you know, that very special thing. I grew up in Iowa, and you know, Iowa and Nebraska both have that same thing where when you talk to a lot of residents, they go, what is there to do here? And people from out of state that you ask them. And I'll tell you, having worked in tourism with this, you know, vast array of clients, everybody has something special. No matter how small your town is, no matter how small your destination is, there's something special about it that makes people want to visit. And so the goal is to find that and then figure out who that person is. And then we're going to try and put that message in front of that person. So this could be a blog post that you write or a page on your website that you create that's similar to a blog style article. This could be a video, either one you have that's just really good content, or maybe one that is part of the grant program that you decide to create. Or this could even be third-party content. So maybe Travel and Leisure wrote this incredible article about your destination or about your attraction, and you want to get some extra buzz on that. You can even use something like that. You know, we're pretty open to interpretation on what can fit in there. It just needs to be interesting. It needs to be actual content. Because if it's content and people read it, then they're excited. If it's an ad, nobody likes to see ads. It's just, we've been conditioned over the years to not want to see ads. So if you put content in front of them, they click through and they read it, and it's like, okay, this is exciting. You know, tell me and show me why I'm going to like your destination, what I'll experience there, versus just an ad. The partner hosts the content, so it lives on your website. The goal is to drive traffic. Lincoln, for example, if Lincoln was to host this on Visit Nebraska's website, and people click through, well, there's not a ton of information there. There's going to be a little bit about Lincoln, but the most information about your destination, about your attraction, is on your website. And so we would much rather you host the content, we drive them to your website, and then you can continue to tell them more. If they go, yeah, this is exciting, I want to learn more, the information's right there, and they can keep reading about it. So it's on your website. The content is shared, it's a promoted post. So through the Visit Nebraska Facebook page, we will craft something that applies to our audience, to the same brand voice that we use, and share your content out. Everything that's shared out from Visit Nebraska will be in the brand voice, but it will be approved by the partners. They'll say, okay, yeah, that works, let's do it. So everything is approved along the way. And share that out, and then it's promoted to your target audience. So, it's not just Nebraska, but every state DMO that I work with, the goal is to try and bring people from out of state. But sometimes you have that small industry partner who says, I can't convince somebody to take a plane ride to Omaha and then take a drive for 3 hours to come visit me. That's just not going to work very well. My market is kind of that within 150 miles or 250 miles or whatever that is. And maybe you're in Northwest and you want to bring people from Omaha or from Lincoln. We're fine with that. For this program, it needs to work for the little guys too, and not just the big guys that say, yeah, hop on a flight and come here. So it is your target audience, not our target audience. And we hope that those are going to be as close as possible, but as overall, we want to make sure it benefits you guys first. And this is the same type of content that they usually share on the Facebook page. It's just a way for you guys to get a little extra lift out of it and to get get it in front of the eyeballs that you want to see it. So, like I said, the partner chooses the content. You guys say, this is what we want to promote. This is what's popular to us. This content should tie into your target audience. So if you're targeting, let's say, parents with kid-friendly activities, your content should talk about those kid-friendly activities, but then your targeted piece of this should go to parents, to people that we know have children. Because if you don't have children, and we put an article in front of you about kid-friendly activities, that suddenly becomes spam and becomes an ad. And again, that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to create content. And then we'll work and create a cluster. And what I mean by that is demographics, age, location, things they like to do, household incomes. We'll put all that together and create a targeting cluster that fits your destination and your target audience to go out and put this ad in front of them. And again, those we'll share with you. We'll come up with this and say, you guys okay with that? Well, yeah, okay, let's go after this. And it's again all approved ahead of time. And it's a matched fund, so it's dollar for dollar match. That doesn't include the grant program. That's just the program at its core for every partner out there on face value. It's a dollar for dollar match. And then final say over message, that's for you guys. You have final say over the message, but what goes out from the Facebook page, we have to put our foot down on that one and say it has to be our brand voice, and it has to be something that we're not going to get in trouble for. If Lincoln says, hey, we want to tell everybody we're the greatest destination in Nebraska, you can say that on your website. We can't say that from the state because we'll hear from other people, and we have to keep everything fair. But it's something where you get to say, yes, this is good, let's go. We want to make sure that when this goes out, you're confident and comfortable with everything that's going out. And so, we work collaboratively with you guys along the way. So this is a $1,000 minimum investment. This has to be enough money to where we can reach the markets. We can have penetration and get people aware of this, and it has to be enough to where people have skin in the game. If we just went out and said, well, we're going to do this for $50, people are going to spend about 5 minutes on it. I know from experience. But if you go out and it's $1,000, they have to put out from their own budget. They have to answer to boards for that. They have to answer to people, and they're going to spend time and make sure this is perfect and it's well crafted, and it maxes out at $2,000. Now, this again, the grant program. I don't know if one of you guys want to jump in now or at the end, but the grant program can be used to supplement some of that $1,000. But for anybody else, if you don't, if you're not somebody that qualifies for the grant, then it's going to work. In a year, this is how it's going to work. If you don't qualify next year for the grant, it's $1,000 minimum, but it's going to be yours instead of the grant. But for all intents and purposes, 1,000, we'll max out that match at 2,000. So if you put in the minimum, you put in 1,000, we put in 1,000, so we have $2,000 in media. And one thing I like to let people know is that is hard media. So all $2,000 goes into media costs. You're not paying a media management fee. Every dollar is going into media. So it's really good for the partners to be able to do that. The grant program, again, the deadline is April 24th. So start thinking about this now and what you have for funds available for this. And then throughout this whole program, I personally will be helping you guys and consulting with you. If you bring me a content piece and you say, well, this is kind of what we're thinking, then we'll talk for a little bit and we'll say, okay, well, who's your target audience? What do they like to do? Where are they at? And we kind of figure this, we start working on a piece of content that's going to resonate more with them. And then you'll send it to me and I'll go ahead and let everybody know ahead of time. Sometimes it looks like a grade school teacher got a hold of it because I'll red ink through stuff and I'll be like, no, well, that's too wordy and let's shorten it up. And I will help you to make sure this is going to be the best piece of content you can put out there. And throughout this process, you're going to realize content is not that hard to create. You'll see, okay, you know what? I want to start making this on my own. And it really will help you to develop your own marketing programs. And then these run Thursday through Saturday. So every week, starting Thursday morning, we're going to run one of these out, and it's going to keep promoting through Saturday. So the post goes out on Thursday, but the ads run through Saturday. This is open to CVBs, DMOs, associations, and then if you don't fall into one of those, the thing we're looking for here is we want to create an umbrella. For a state organization, the idea is we need to talk about the entire state. So as part of this program, we're going to go ahead and throw that down to you guys to say, okay, well, we can't just have one individual hotel do this because that's going to be way too self-serving. But if the destination's doing it, well, that's on you guys as a destination to make sure you're taking care of your partners. And so the idea here is to create an umbrella that talks about a whole area. So, a region maybe, if that's how it's set up. But if you don't fall into one of these, reach out to us. And that way we can look at it and evaluate and go, yeah, we can see how that might fall into it. Something like a Department of Wildlife could fall into this. It's just going to require that the umbrella covers more of the state and more of the visitors. So the benefits of this one, because you're probably going, okay, what is the benefit to us? Well, at the very face value, the very top thing is we're doubling the budget. So you put in 1,000, we put in 1,000, that's $2,000. You can't beat that on your own at the get-go. So huge benefit right off the top. We have content to share and you have content to share. Each one of these is a mini consulting session where you learn how it is to talk about your destination and how it is to create content for your destination and talking to your audience. And so you learn, this doesn't take very long. Social validity is that you guys reach out I see this a lot, especially in Colorado, I would see this. You have a lot of the small destinations that just aren't well known. And so if you were to run these on your own, and you show up in somebody's newsfeed in Des Moines, Iowa, and you're just a small little destination in northern Nebraska, they have no idea who you are. And so that introduction isn't there. But when that shows up from Nebraska, that introduction phase is done, and they go, oh, okay, you're a destination in Nebraska. Now what do you have to say? Because it's coming from Visit Nebraska, there's awareness there. And with the audience around Nebraska, what we're looking for is people that go, yeah, that's a really cool destination, because we can say it's awesome and you guys can say it's awesome, but for some reason if some other person they've never met halfway around the world says it's awesome, that lends more credibility to the end person that's reading it and goes, okay, well, it must be awesome. This is going to allow you guys to dip your toes into ads. This is, a lot of people are frightened of it because they don't know what to do. They're afraid they're going to be wasting money. We're going to be there to help you guys along the way and say, this is who you need to talk to. This is where these ads should go. This is how you should optimize these, so that you understand, okay, we've got a framework now so that we can go out and do it on our own. You learn that content's not hard. Everyone I've done this with, when I started out, there was very few industry partners in Colorado that were creating their own content. And now they all realize this isn't hard. we can, in an hour maybe, we can create a beautiful piece of content. And they understand not only that, you can create one piece or take from 4 pages you have on your website and create a piece of content out of those. And you start learning little tricks to make this even easier. And then now with these extra funds, you can reach other markets. I mean, some people might not be going out very far, and now we have the funds to be able to go outside the state and maybe hit some of these markets that you wanted to before, but you just didn't quite have the money or the reach to get to those markets. And then retargeting your audience later. I'm going to talk about pixels in a second, but I like to call this an upper funnel marketing tactic, and I'll explain that in just a minute. So this is just kind of a really easy chart to show you. It's going to start out on your page. Visit Nebraska is just, I chose them, but it could be Visit Lincoln, that could be Visit Omaha, that could be some association. And we create a Facebook post. So your content feeds into that post. We share that out to mobile, to desktop, to tablets, to anybody that's on Facebook, and drive them right back in to your website. So you kind of see that's really how it's working. It's all we're doing is helping spread that awareness through the page. Measurements on this, likes, comments, and shares, those are great. That's a good judge of people are engaging with this stuff. They like it, they comment it, but what we want are video views if you choose to go that route. Clicks to your website. A video view could be something where you get 3 seconds, 10 seconds of attention. But if we get them to click through and read an article, suddenly you got 2 minutes of that person's day. They're going to remember who you are. Click-through rate, so if you hear me talk about click-through rates, those are the percentage of people that click through. So if there's 1,000 people and 100 of them click through, we have a 10% click-through rate. Reach is, you probably hear your ad people talk about impressions. Reach is the number of individuals that saw it. It's not the number of times it was seen, it's the actual people that saw it. And then you guys should all have something in place on your own website to measure traffic. So Google Analytics or something like that to say, now that they've come in, we can measure guide requests or email signups or even a booking if you have that on your website. But you should have your own stuff ready to start measuring these people when they hit the website. So just kind of a real quick, so you understand the order we're doing here. I'm going to talk about pixels in a second, but one of the things I want you guys to do is, once this is done, before this program's even started, you should implement a website pixel. This is specific to Facebook. This isn't, if you have an ad pixel on your website, it's not the same thing. It has to be a Facebook pixel. So you're going to implement a pixel on your website because we want you to start collecting data right now. You're going to sign up for a date. Then, a week prior, we're going to need that content, or at least need you to have the framework of that content so we can help you craft it and get it where it needs to be for the next week. Then we're going to help you, once we know the content and who you're talking to, we're going to help you identify your target audience, and then we'll create a post. It's not posted, we'll just create the post so that we can see, yep, this is your website, this is who we're talking to, this is the post, everything speaks to the same person in the same style. And then we're going to post this and drive content or drive traffic to your website, to your content. And then after it's all done, we'll send you a nice little pretty wrap-up that explains to you how it went, things that went really well on it, and it's going to be, it'll be board ready. So if you want to take our wrap-ups and go and show it to your board, you can do that. It's all ready to go and it's all pretty explanatory. This is an example of one that I created for a Colorado destination. It's the Colorado Dude and Guest Ranch Association. The lady that created this is not a content producer. She's not somebody that you would expect. She's not a writer. And she was able to, in about an hour and a half, go look at some stuff on her website and put this page together. Really quick, really dirty, just kind of go out, let's make something that's speaking to an audience. On this one, we decided, you know what? It's a dude ranch. Let's go ahead and test going and talking to grandparents. If you don't know, a lot of dude ranches, if you bring your whole family there, it costs about as much as buying a moderate car. And so we knew that this is a message that you could tug at the heartstrings of a grandparent and say, bring your grandchild here, leave them memories, not money. that kind of thing is what the theme was for this. On the paid and the organic side, when I'm talking about organic, I mean there's nothing pushing it, just when you post it out and the people that see it. The only ones that could see it were grandparents. What was funny about this one is even the industry partner that signed up for this couldn't see the post after I put it out there because she wasn't a grandparent. But the idea here is to give you kind of start those wheels turning and start getting you thinking about how this could work. So we went out and we targeted grandparents and said, take them here, go fishing, sit around the campfire. This was something that really spoke. You can see the content. It spoke to the grandparents and the kind of things they'd see with their grandkids. It was exciting. It had links for more information. And then at the end of this, it was, hey, you can sign up here and get more information about it. Sign up for a guide, get some, a request for booklet or an email, that kind of thing. You can see the post there. It kind of ties in with the theme, and that went out there. Without paid pushing this, the organic traffic would have stopped at about 25,000. But because we had more people engaging with it, Facebook said, let's show it to even more. The way I like to look at this is the co-op program is the right side of that bar. That's that dark orange bar because that's paid. All the money is going to reaching those people. Everything on the left, that lighter orange, we have zero control over that. That's organic. That's just kind of cream on top. That's okay, well, we wanted to reach these people, but we also got these people in addition. But we have no control over that, so it's cream on top. But you see, we reached 270,000 people paid. And it was great because there was something like 9,000 or 10,000 clicks to our website, which was wonderful. But they were 9,000 or 10,000 amazing clicks. These were grandparents that either made over $150,000 or they had liquid assets over $500,000. We were able to look at that and say they have grandkids, they have money, they live within these markets, they like to do these kinds of things. That's who this should apply to. And the request for information was off the charts. It was the best she'd ever had. And again, this is where I like to get industry partners thinking about this ahead of time is, how are you going to track this after the fact? We'll tell you how many people engaged with it, but you guys need to track requests for information or actual bookings so that they wanted information. With this one, she tracked information because she knew the people that requested a guide, she knew the percentage of them that ended up booking a trip, so she could put an ROI to this after the fact. And this is kind of something I like to show with everyone is, the proof is in the pudding. We can tell you it's going to go well and people are going to book a trip, but when you start looking at the comments that were out there, and this was just on our post, they're talking about trip planning, they're tagging their friends and saying, let's go check this out. Let's bring our grandkids here. I hadn't thought about this. You start seeing that, that's our end goal is trip planning. When you see this kind of a conversation going on, you know that what's going on offline or going on when they share it with their friends and have a conversation, we can't see that. But we know that is the trip planning. That's our goal. And so when we see this, we know elsewhere it's really happening. Around home at the dinner table, the conversation's happening. So it's really nice to be able to see that and see, yeah, we accomplished our goal. So pixels. Pixels are a small piece of code that you put on your website. These are, best way I found to explain a pixel is we've all probably gone to Amazon and looked at a product. And then you go to Facebook and that product follows you around for 2, 3, 4, 5 days. You might even go somewhere else on the internet. What happened is you were identified when you looked at that, and now for the next few days, Amazon says, well, did you decide that you wanted to buy this? Go back, buy this. You left too early, are you sure? Might have been an impulse buy, but we just want to remind you that's still here. So they're able to retarget you because they know you visited that page. With pixels, you can track conversions. When I talk about conversions, that's a very broad thing. So that could be people that clicked there and then went and read a guide you have, or clicked there and signed up for an email, or clicked there and then booked a room. Whatever that is a conversion. But you can track an ROI, meaning the return on the dollars you put in, you can assign values and track this. And I'm going to show you how to implement a pixel in a minute. Pixels work for optimization, meaning you can tell Facebook, I want people that click through and end up signing up for the email. And they'll show it to some people, and then they'll see who clicks through on the email and signs up, and they'll go, okay, well, we think it's this type of person, let's show it to more of those type of people. And it'll optimize to find the people more likely to do that. This is getting into a little more advanced on the tactics, but it's something that's possible, and if it's something you're interested in, when we're doing these, we can discuss that and how you can optimize your pixel for your own marketing. The one I like the most is building the targeting groups, meaning we have people that visit our websites, and a lot of times we don't know who those are. But if you're signed into Facebook on Google Chrome or Firefox or Safari, and you open another window, and you go, you maybe click this link that shows up, this ad we put in there, and you go to your website, then Facebook goes, we know who that is. And they put that person in a bucket. And they say, okay, well, there's one of them. Well, there's another one. And then after the fact, you can go to your website and go, who's visiting it? Because maybe on your website, your content and the way you talk and the pictures you show are speaking to grandparents, but then you find out, no, when I look at the data, it's telling me they're 35 to 50, and they're high income, and they don't have kids. This is where you need to put these in, because we'll start gathering information. We'll find out this is who's coming to your website. This is who's getting information. And that's going to help you. That's going to help the state. That's going to help everybody to market Nebraska to the traveler much better if we know who the visitor is, if we know who's interested in your information. And that's what a pixel helps you do. So these are setting up. You get one and done. So you can generate one of these, and whether you do it yourself or you have a website developer, you put it in the footer, you put it in the header. The main thing you want to tell whoever your website person is, make sure this goes across every single page on our website. And then after the fact, you can go in and segment that later. And I'll explain that in just a second. But when you go to Facebook, you see down here is Ads Manager. You're going to want to click Ads Manager, and you'll come into Ads Manager like this, and you see those little three arrows, that's a little drop down. You're going to click that, and then over here you'll see Pixels. You want to go into Pixels, and since this is the first time I'd set one up in this ad account, it's going to say, okay, you want to set up a new pixel. And you can only generate one of these per account. So make sure that not just one for your website, but you get one per ad account. So do this wisely. And I guess I'll go ahead and say it now. Do this from an account that your destination will always have access to. Nothing against interns, nothing against your coordinators, but if they leave, they take your data. So make sure you will always have access to this account. But the easiest way to do it here is to copy and paste the code. So you're going to click within this box, and you see all that stuff down there. That's the code you're looking for. So you could actually copy that and install that yourself if you know what you're doing. Or you click next, and you come down here, you see you can actually email that to your developer. So if it's not you doing it, you click email instructions, you type the name in the top for the recipient, and it's going to send them instructions on that. And all you need to do is make sure they understand. Don't put this on the home page. Make sure this goes across to every single page. And if they're your developer, they'll know what you're talking about. Nope. So, a custom audience is something that's built off of a piece of data. And for this presentation, I'm going to just talk about custom audience and referring to pixels. So, this is the code you put on your website. You're tracking your conversions, your ROI, all of this. But it's done, so you go in and set up a custom audience, and now you can check out the data. This is where I'm talking about. You go in and segment this and look at who's visited my website. So again, you go to that same drop down, and you'll see audiences. And you're going to click down, and you're going to go to a custom audience. And you're going to tell it website traffic. Now I will say, this is a good point just as outside of this, you can get a couple other spots. Customer file is if you have an email database and you want to feed that in, you go ahead and feed that in from this exact same spot. It's just one above. Two below, you'll see people that engage with you on Facebook. The more of these you create, the more information you're going to have. All of these that I'm showing you, creating these website pixels and creating these custom audiences, it's all free to do within Facebook. So you're going to tell, because you already have a pixel in place, anybody who visits your website. And then down below it will say in the last, you would say 30 days, 90 days, 180 days. You can even segment it. So I already have a pixel, and I could say people who visit specific web pages. I only want the people that visit pages that have to do with family activities. So I would put those URLs in there, and since it's across every page on my website, it knows, okay, let's just track the people that come to these web pages. So you can segment it now from this spot, or you can just create a big, wide-reaching, anybody that's visited our website within the last 180 days. Pay attention to the naming on these. So as you'll see on the left, my test ones are actually test, so I didn't worry about the name. But if you were to call that just pixel, you're not going to know what that is. Name that website 30 days, website 60 days, website 90 days, website 180. And I would create actually all of those. It doesn't cost you any more. You're using the same pixel. You're just segmenting it here. But then if you're doing something where you just want to retarget to people 30 days out, you have that group that visited in the last 30 days. If you are getting ready to retarget spring messaging, you can target people that have been interested in the last few months because, well, okay, they probably started planning their trip a couple months ago or 3 months ago, and we want to start hitting those people now. So name them very specific so you know what they're made up of. And if you put in your email, name them email database. So here, and this is a whole different conversation we'll have. Right now, I just want you guys to set them up and get them implemented. Later we can talk about this, but if you set up Business Manager, you can share your pixel with us. And then as part of this, we could target people that visited your website from our page with your content. The idea, again, is start reaching these people that it's going to make the most sense with. And an example of this might be, I work with some partners in Colorado, and as part of that $2,000, we might put $1,000 towards interests and behaviors, and we come up with this targeting group, and we put $1,000 of that towards that, and we put $500 towards people that visited the website in the last 3 months, and then we put $500 of that towards people that maybe are signed up for our email address. So we're hitting 3 different groups. So that's going to come if you can generate this pixel and you have Business Manager, you can share that with us, and then we can start doing that kind of thing. State pixel access. So ideally, we'd like to have pixel access, and the reason for this is because the more data we get, and I would say it's a good time to let you know, we don't see the names of these people. We will never know the names of these people that are in these groups. Once that data is uploaded to Facebook and these pixels are in place and all of that, we don't know who they are. Facebook maintains the privacy on that. But we can look at that and get the data on who those people are. So if we can start seeing some of this, then as a state, as a whole organization, we can go, this is who's visiting all around the state. So as we're doing the Nebraska marketing stuff too, we have information on who to start targeting, because now that data doesn't exist right now, or it's not as refined as it could be. And we're going to start getting more and more of that, because the more data we have on people, the more likely it is we can reach out and get more of them to visit. We know who this is, let's find more of them. You can retarget to all of the visitors. So this is from us, from you. We're going to do this with our pixels, but you guys should do it with yours. Retarget to people that came to your websites and say, here's another piece of content. Targeting areas with relevant content. So people that visited the family stuff, let's go ahead and target those people again with another, maybe you wrote a family blog article down the road that doesn't have anything to do with us. You can retarget them using this pixel. So get this thing set up ASAP. Get it generating data, because that works from day one forward. Even if you don't plan on doing anything with it for 3 months, 6 months, or ever, get the data now, because it's if you decide to do something, you're going to have that at the ready. So real quick, a marketing funnel, and this is, I like to tell people that the state co-op program is an upper funnel tactic. So at the top, you'll see we have all these people. This is just your general audience. We're going to reach out and target a bunch of people. Let's say we take $2,000 and we go out and we target and we reach 180,000 people, and we get 4,000 people to click through to your website. That's great. You know, you have this traffic to your website. However, with a pixel in place, you can do a lower funnel tactic. So that would be the orange. That's what you may do on your own. So if you do this, and then in a month after you do it, or 2 weeks after you do it, or even a week after you do it, you reach out to those same people that came to your website with another piece of content that says, okay, you clicked over here and you read about the sand hills and the crane festival's coming up. We're going to reach out in a month after we talk to you about the sand hills and the cranes with event details. And so that's powerful, because now we had to reach out to 200,000 people to get 4,000 or 5,000 to click through to your website. But you're going to be able to reach out to 4,000 or 5,000 people that now know who you are. And you can do that for $50, $100. You can start doing that for much less and do that on your own. So it's really powerful when it starts going down the funnel, because it doesn't cost you near as much. We've qualified this large audience for you. So the sign up for this. May 1st, we're planning on sending out sign up. And it's going to be a Google form. There will be dates on there. And you will select the dates for what you want. Select a few of them. And we'll put a little spot in there that says, tell us your preferred order. But it's going to be first come, first serve. I'll tell you, when I do this now in Colorado, it's insane. I mean, as fast as I can fill that form out is how fast they're coming in. And yeah, I mean, just if you know what dates you want, Thursday through Saturday, look at the calendar. Think of your booking windows. If you have an event, go backwards like 3-4 weeks. Because you don't want to talk to people the weekend or the week of your event to say, come and visit us. You want to talk to them 3 or 4 weeks before, maybe more, to say, clear your schedule, come to the event. First available sign-up date is going to be May 22nd. We have that date down because that's the soonest you will find out if you have a grant match or grant access. If you want to, if you've seen this and you're like, yep, I'm sold, I want to buy in, I don't need the grant money right now, or either you don't qualify or you're like, hey, I want to just sign up and get in early, let us know and we can get you in earlier than that. But that's the soonest you could get in with any kind of grant access. Again, spots are first come, first serve. We can only do one of these a week, only because we don't want to start bidding over the top of ourselves with Nebraska's own advertising, and we don't want partner content that's competing with each other. And then content has to be 1 week prior. So just remember that you need to start thinking of it now, and even ahead of time, start thinking of what can we talk about. Kick that idea around, jot it down, then in a week, start thinking of it, get ideas from other people in your destination or people on your board or people in the office and what they think we should talk about. And then if you have questions, you can send them to Jen.
So we'll have you come over here
Okay.
and join us, Dave, and start on some of the questions. We have Heather and Dave and Angela and John all here to answer them.
I tried.
Heather, there's a lot for you since you're the grant guru.
Okay.
We'll just start with, are state agencies able to participate in this, or how does that work?
Unfortunately, no. State government agencies cannot apply for our grant funds. Our statutes are pretty clear in interpretation that our grant funds can be awarded to communities and organizations that are external to the state. So unfortunately, no. However, if a state agency does have a foundation that's separate from them, their foundation could apply for the funds.
Good to know. Dave, people just want to know more about your past experience, kind of how it's all worked when it comes to the number of participants you get.
So yeah, I've always set these up where there's only one per week that I can do. And the very first time I did this in Colorado, it was interesting because nobody knew what to expect, and there was nothing like it in the country. And once they started seeing the results that came in, once I consistently heard from partners, this is the most traffic we've ever had in a month, and it's only been over 3 or 4 days. That is what made people start going, oh my God, we need to participate in it. And so they were just scooping it up. And so I've been doing this one for almost 3 years. And they don't go unfilled. I mean, I have a waiting list of people that want to do this as much as often, or as many times as possible. And I even have a list of people that say, if somebody backs out, even at the last minute, call me and let me know, and I have funds set aside, and I'll just buy up a spot. Because it works really well. It works really, really well. And one of the things I like about it is, it works as well or better for the small guys as it does for the big guys. Because, and it's all speculation, but the small guys tend to go, okay, what do you think? What can we do here? They really craft their content versus just saying, yeah, we have a piece of content, we know it's great, let's do it. They want to find out, hey, who's your audience? Who should we talk to? What's worked well in the past? And there's a lot more questions, and they spend a lot of time making sure that these dollars go very well to the people that it's going to resonate with. And so it is this great equalizer where you can be big and do well, you can be small and do every bit as well.
Okay, thank you. Angela, a question from Alliance. Can a sponsored listing on visitnebraska.com link directly to their website?
As of right now, we have them linked to their destination page. I think that's something we could probably talk about depending on the situation, but yeah, if they want to link to their page, they would need to let us know and we discuss that.
Okay. Heather, what is the cap on the grants? Is there a maximum amount an organization can apply for?
No, actually, during this trial of this grant cycle, there is no cap. So we encourage entities to participate and sign up in kind of a cherry picking order of things that they want to participate in. And that's how we're gonna tell the success of the program.
Yeah, I want to add something in there. I mean, we think this is a great opportunity, and like I said earlier, we're trying to also figure out which programs you like best and which ones work. So, price very well. So I would encourage you, to take advantage of everything you can, but just don't carte blanche say we want to try to get into it all, because that's not going to help us very much in terms of the long-term ferreting out which of these programs work best for you. So really do consider what you've done in the past, where you want to go, what you want to do, if you want to try the Facebook thing out or whatever, and cherry pick the ones you best think would help you out based on your past experience or your plans moving forward. And we'll see what happens. That'll help us out a lot in terms of designing the future programs coming along.
Another one that any of you can answer, how much is the commission going to allocate for the grant program?
Right now, we have about $165,000 remaining in this grant cycle to award, and that amount could grow depending as more grant reimbursement requests come in, if they're under the amount they were awarded. So.
Okay. Angela, on the co-op ads that are part of a Nebraska page in a series of pages, will all the individual ads carry the Visit Nebraska logo, or will it just be the Visit Nebraska page?
On the Facebook?
No, on a co-op, in a
Oh, yes.
magazine.
Yes, generally, any of the co-op ads would also have our branding included with that.
Even if it's like 6 on one page, each of the 6
I
has it
think
in
that
there.
Well, not necessarily. Sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. I guess it just depends on how we purchase the program. I guess if you would want to know specifically on each one, ask me. Because sometimes we do purchase brand advertising that goes side by side with the co-op advertising. So in those cases, yes, it would have brand advertising, and then the co-op ad maybe it might be a 2-page spread, so one page is brand ad and one page is the co-op. So if it's not clear in the book as to what that situation is, just let me know and I can explain it further.
And in regards to the Facebook and social media blasts, do they have to do a Through My Eyes geared post? Or do we know that yet?
Well, I think ideally, that was the way it's set up, and honestly, when we started talking it through more, you can do a video that kind of mirrors the Through My Eyes, and that would just tie in better to what we're doing with the other advertising efforts. But at the same time, if you don't have a video, don't want to do a video, we can actually help you create, I guess the best word to be was static one, right? Without video, tied to the destination. So you have the option there. We're trying to be as flexible as possible. Some people will want to tie into Through My Eyes because they have a video that can be either tailored to that or want to create one to that. Or the other way is if you're really looking to do a specific event or whatever you want in there, we can tailor it that way too. And like Dave already mentioned, and I'll say it honestly, there'll be a lot of hand-holding the first time around to get that program going. Dave did mention some great results, and I was actually in Colorado to see those great results, but it'll take time to build. It's a whole learning process for us in doing it, and it's a whole learning process for you in doing it. But it doesn't have to tie right to Through My Eyes, but there will be those who want to go that way, and the other route is too. So anything, just give us a buzz.
Thank you, John. If a community or entity is in need of assistance with a video to be made, how does that work? Does the entity have to have a budget for development, or will commission staff assist with development of the video?
We will not have commission staff helping with that video, but what we'll ask you to do is get 3 bids, competitive bids, and if you need some suggestions for people that can create those kinds of videos locally here, just let us know. We can give you some names, or if you already have 3 vendors that you'd like to talk to and get bids from, you can do that, and then you would submit that information with your grant application. And again, if you're eligible for the grant, that production of that video could also be helped to be paid for, so.
Okay. I don't think we have any more questions. I do have a few that I'm going to pass on to you guys to answer personally, just because they're a little bit more complicated in the way they're asked. But I think that's it for today.
Cool, thanks a lot. I think that, we put a lot of work into this. When we presented it to the commissioners, they were all for it. And again, what we're looking for is lots of participation at affordable rates so we can help move your destination forward in the upcoming year. And thanks very much for viewing, and if you have any questions, of course, we're always here. Just give us a buzz or email us. Thanks a lot.